Hello, everyone. Welcome to Week in Review for Module 7. Sorry, I'm a little bit delayed in getting this one out. But let's talk a little bit. I want to say that I have finished grading the part two, that really heavy part that you had, or the literature review piece that was handed in last week. And I want to say phenomenal job on that. Great. I mean, all the way across the board. I would say I think the lowest grade so far that I've seen in the papers that have been handed in is maybe a 45, and that's a 90%. So that is excellent, excellent work there on that. So great job on those literature reviews. Also, kind of talking about grades in general, as I mentioned in that audio feedback that I gave you, each one of you individually, that was attached to the journaling assignment. I believe that was in week 5, which would module four's assignment, where I go through personally with the grade book with you, and I'm looking at the grade book and seeing what's missing. Go back in, check your grade book, see if anything is missing. As you know, I do take late work. It is, go get those easy points because it can make a difference between a letter grade. So double check that. If you have submitted something late, let me know. And so I can go back in and check it because I don't get any kind of alert or any kind of pop up that tells me that something's been submitted. So, is it, and let me know where it's at, module one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, where it's at too. I do go back and kind of scan the drop boxes, scan the other assignment areas for all the modules that we have completed, but I may miss something. So just bring my attention to it until I get it graded for you, and then so I don't miss it because we've only got one more week left. Um, all right, so let's talk a little bit about this week. This week I did post a kind of a nice article about telemedicine. Take a read on that. It's a quick read. You're not going to be quizzed on that, but just kind of to give you an idea of the current trends that are going on right now within healthcare. For those of you that are involved in radiology or radiography, telemedicine has been around for a decade or more. And like I said, we were really the first to do it because radiology lends itself so easily to telemedicine. Moving a digital image or a series of images from one location to another is kind of a piece of cake, and having a physician, a radiologist, read that is pretty easy. We used to have a group of radiologists that were based out of Hawaii, also based out of Australia, that were US board certified. So Australia is about 12 hours, 11 hours, um, opposite of us. So when it's midnight there, it's lunchtime over there. And again, being US board certified radiologists, they could read it. Hawaii also a big hour difference. So, those radiologists here in the States could have their nights off because we could send things out to other radiologists to read. That was easy, relatively easy to do with images because you're not dealing with live patients. Kind of interactive, synchronous telemedicine is kind of a different animal, and the technology there is now there to do this. And as you know, there is that physician shortage, which some of you are going to be reporting on in next or kind of this week as you submit that. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But it's really extending that physician, leveraging their time, so they can really see more patients without having to travel, being able to service patients that are in remote locales. So take a look at that. We are going to have another kind of another news piece. I had a few students ask me a little bit more about the Canadian health system, so I'll be posting some information about the Canadian health system. I don't know which direction we're going to end up going with healthcare, and just kind of our the general viewpoint we're taking with the program right now is, well, we currently have the Affordable Care Act. So this is what we're going to be teaching to, is the Affordable Care Act. When we see legislation coming through that may or may not impact healthcare, we will begin starting to discuss that. There is no legislation at this point that's been made public or brought forward. I am aware that there is, I guess, some legislation that has been developed, and the Office of Bureau Management, basically the accountants of the government, are looking at that proposal and coming up with the dollar figures, and does it make sense from a financial standpoint? Well, I guess they really don't. Their job is to be impartial. They just simply take a look at the numbers, crunch the numbers on any particular piece of legislation and say, if you do this legislation, here is what we calculate that's going to happen. They're not making a judgment call whether that's bad or good. But that's what's going on right now. But no, very few people have seen this, I guess, apparent legislation. So when we get, I guess when it becomes more public knowledge, we will bring that to your attention because as possible changes within the I guess the landscape of healthcare. But things are going to take years if any changes are able to occur. All right, but I guess my little spiel there is Canadian healthcare. Will we have a system like Canadian healthcare? I don't know. It seems to work pretty good for the Canadians. As you probably have read in a few other areas, you know that our metrics for an industrialized nation are terrible, and something needs to be done. Affordable Care Act, um, whether it's Obamacare or even 15, 20 years ago, there was something called Hillary Care for those of us that are old enough to remember. It never got off the ground. But whatever this is going to look like, Trump Care, I don't know. But something does need to change. I don't know if we're going to be able to move to something like the Canadian healthcare system, but it seems to work out pretty good for them. But stay tuned. I'll have a nice little article for you on that. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about this week's activities. In Module 7, really just want to draw your attention to kind of the big thing. I know we have seems like a big thing every week, but this week we're going to be having our final part of the 4-part project. You're probably like, thank God I'm done with this. And you've already laid all of the work. All you got to do is kind of knit the pieces together for a 5-minute presentation. You had the paper where I kind of call it the topic paper, where you introduce the topic, you've kind of introduced the problem that you're going to be researching. You started a little bit on what articles were talking about that. And then you practiced a little bit on charts and graphs and things that you might be incorporating in this presentation. And then in part 3, you put all the meat of it, which was or the part with the literature review, where you put all those major parts, that literature that you're going to need really to discuss. So you're going to be using all of that information and blending this together. Just remember, please do not read, please do not read, please do not read your scripts. So even though you might have a script, you might have little bullet points that we can't see off camera, which is totally fine to keep you on track. Or it is nothing more boring than someone taking a script and reading it to us word by word, sentence by sentence, and this is my presentation. So just remember, it's the same skills that you're going to be using if you were in front of a classroom, if you were making a board presentation, if you're in front of your business colleagues, that you're doing in front of this little webcam, same thing. Maintain that kind of demeanor and presentation style, and you'll be just fine. So that's this week is the presentation. Then we'll be posting those presentations in the discussion board. Again, you're just going to put the link of your presentation in there, and then next week you're going to go back in. You don't have to do it this week because all of you are still finishing it. But then you're going to go back in, and we're going to have that commentary period. You'll be required to reply back to watch 2 other students' presentations and give them some feedback. Usually everybody gets some feedback from students, but you may not. You may, there's always a chance that 2 students don't review your piece of work. Don't worry, that doesn't affect your grade. The way I look at it, there's a way for me to look on Brightspace that you have replied to 2 other students. So that's what I'm really looking at. So, but usually almost everybody gets reviewed by another student. It's kind of neat to see what your peers and colleagues say about your presentation. Of course, I'll be grading that presentation as well. So that is it. Now I'm going to have 2 parts for this. The second part is I'm going to go over one more time how to produce the link. I have a student account now for Present Me, so I can simulate pretty much everything, hopefully, that you're seeing on your end. There was a student who was seeing something different. Haven't been able to figure out why their interface was different. I don't know if they were using whether it had to do with Chrome, the Internet Explorer, Firefox, maybe it was a web browser issue. Not too sure about that, but hopefully you're seeing what I'm seeing. Because there was some confusion about how to, there was some kind of bumps in the road about how to get that link. And this is brand new, kind of the way that we're doing it. I've been using PresentMe for about a year and a half. With my personal account, it ran very smoothly. We now have this new institutional account, done a little bit differently, and we've had a few bumps in the road. So, but hopefully that's all been worked out. As I mentioned in a couple of weeks ago, to make sure that you're playing around with it. If you did have some trouble in that first week, that you've been playing around with it and hopefully you've got that all kind of figured out. So I'm going to go ahead and end this. If you're good with Present Me, no need to watch. If you wanted to see it one more time, kind of a demo, feel free to hang in there and watch part 2 of this week's presentation. Okay, welcome to part 2 on this. So let's take a look at basically kind of a reboot of the process. I'll get my picture off completely here. So I'm going to go to Present Me. Again, I have a student account just like you, and give that some time to load. And I'm going to log on here, kind of scoot over. Got to clicking the log on area. Oops, get rid of that pop-up. Log on. It's loaded my information. It knows because I've been here. I have Chrome and it saves it for me. So there's my log on. So I'm going to click log on. Log on successful. So that looks good. I'm going to click the Mercy College area. I think I can click that. That'll be fine. All right, so I got one from earlier, so just ignore that. So let's say I'm starting from scratch. So I'm going to do make new recording. And you're going to do slides and video, and then I'm going to upload file. I'm not for those of you that are fancy and can use Google Docs or you Google Drive, you got that. But most of you, I think I would stick just with traditional upload at this point. So I'm basically looking for my PowerPoint, and there's my desktop. I got a PowerPoint, an old one here. I'll use that one. Take a few moments. There it goes. Excellent. Now it's still doing its thing. Might take a moment here. All right, asking for permissions. I'm always going to click allow. All right, everything looks good. Your network's too slow. All right, so we'll look good on that. Click OK. Checking network speed again, clicking allow. Great. Now I'm looking over here. I'm making sure that those bars are moving up and down. That tells me that my microphone I've selected the right microphone. If for some reason I didn't, I go to settings and I've got my microphone and my Logitech HD camera now, which I'm also using for this presentation. So I've got another screen capture software kind of using the camera spot right now. So the camera is probably not going to show up because I've already occupied that with another program, but you guys aren't doing that. So we'll just go ahead and click Save Changes. Everything looks good. All right, looks great there. So now it's really simple. All I'm going to do is I'm going to be hitting recording and talking and blah blah blah, talking, to my slides. Um, advancing my slides as I need to. As I go through my presentation, I'm talking. I like this right here because it shows my next slide, so I can kind of get my mind ready for what I'm going to say on my next slide. So that kind of helps. And I go through my presentation, blah, 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 and so on and so forth, yada, yada, yada. All right. And there we go. Now I can click next and it will automatically stop for me, or I can always hit the stop button. Either way is okay. I'm just going to go ahead and click next, and it has stopped my recording for me. All right, so I'm done. I've got it all recorded. I'm going to hit end and review. Going to take a while doing some video rendering. Obviously, yours is going to be longer than mine. Mine was only about a minute long, so it takes a little bit longer. If we had my audio on, you would be able to hear that right now. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead. Oh, there we go. All right, I can hear the audio. All right, so that looks good. Let's say I'm all fine with that, and you pretty much should be. You're not going to do any editing or anything like that with it, so you're good to go. You're not going to mark the box. You're going to leave that as it is. It's not a private presentation, so do not mark that. And hit save. It's going to take a while, so I'm actually going to pause it. It's going to give you an email notification, depending on where that was set up to. Again, to put all the pieces together and to render it. Okay, well, mine was pretty quick because again, it was a short, very short presentation. So yours may, your results will vary because it will take a little bit longer for the computer to go through that, or for the Present Me website, because nothing is really done on your computer. It's all done on the website once that video is streamed to Present Me. So all right, so from here I'm done. I go back, I look, maybe I've got a couple, you should have a couple presentations in there. So you have one presentation, you go, okay, this is the one that I want to share. Click the share by email, and you'll have a box that will come up, and you will not be sharing by email. Again, this box right here where it says internal, you can mark that to public. And in that case, you can't share internally because you've marked, you're going public with it. So it gives you by default the link. So you'll want to take this link right down here. But either or, let me go back. Let's say if it was still marked internal, the trick on this one is to scroll down. And then you can scroll down and then you can see the link and then you can hit copy link. So I think just going to public, copy link. You don't need to send it if for some reason you don't need to send it to yourself. But it's now copied the link in my uh, clipboard. And I'm just going to pull a Word document up real quick just to make sure it's there. So I got a Word doc right here. Let me just do paste. And that didn't work. All right, hold on one second here, guys. Copy link. There it goes. All right, I'll erase that. Try it one more time. There we go. Now I feel more confident. I hate kind of jumping. I don't trust that things are on clipboard unless I actually see it being able to paste somewhere. So before I leave the area, I always make sure it's kind of loaded in there. So it looks good. Looks like I've got it. Now let me go back in and test it. I'm just going to pull up a browser. I'm going to drop it in the browser bar. If you could see that right now, I'm just pasting that in the browser bar. Okay, and there it is. So that should work for you. So let's give that a try. Again, using that link should be the way to do that. Again, if you're having any problems, let me know. I think we kind of got it all basically worked out. But so I hope that helps. And everybody, thanks for watching and good luck with the presentations this weekend.